Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the September meeting of the Fort Worth Astronomical Society. My name is Bruce Campbell, and I'm the president this term. And it looks like summer's making its attempt to hold on, because as you know, next Monday, we're at the fall equinox, where we have, let's say, 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of night. And then it's every astronomer's dream because the nights are getting longer and the days are getting shorter. So let's get going. So first slide, when it's up. So who knew that there was going to be a concert at the Coliseum today? Okay, it was a surprise to most of us. And how about the road construction? Anybody drive down Camp Bowie enough to... we need an input system to be aware of those roadblocks. So we're having... Hi. No, you're fine. We haven't really started. Yeah, technical issues. We'll get started. Right. Well, one of the first slides we talk about is visitors. Are there any visitors tonight? It's coming to life. Okay, very good. How about new members? Any new members here for tonight? Hey, why don't you stand up and tell us who you are and how you found us? Welcome.
A long time since childhood friend of mine was a member here and knows about the place. What's the name? Was it Ronnie Parkhurst? Ronnie Lisa Parkhurst. Hey, you know his name? Yeah. Yeah, he had a really nice big Orion telescope. And unfortunately, and I'm kind of sad to say, he got killed.
Okay.
And I've been learning it and trying to figure out how to use it and do stuff with it. And man, I'm just blown away by the things you can do. I really like the visual aspect. I haven't got into the dark, but I'm not sure I will. But just being able to get out there and do some stuff and see what's there is just amazing. We live between Springtown and Weatherford, Highway 51.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's really something. Several weeks ago, we rented an RV and hauled it up to the top of Grand State Park. And man, they're just blown away when you see it there. It was
Yep.
great. So we want to go back there. I did go in a trolley that I could put the stove on, haul it around and move it because that thing's big. But it's pretty good.
And then we named the big Ronnie.
Yeah, we got Ronnie. He is a great guy, man. But anyway, so we're new, so trying to figure it out.
Okay. That's all sound good. Hey. Any other new members here with us tonight? Hey, stand up and tell us who you are and how you found us.
My name's Dylan. I found out about you guys just through my brother here. Would come out to events with him for just over the years growing up. Took a little bit of time off due to some things at home, but kind of getting back into it now. Putting some more time back into it.
Well, very good. Welcome. Great. Okay, so for you new members that haven't been with us very long, the first part of this presentation will show you some of the opportunities and benefits you have of becoming a member. Let's go to the next slide. Well, new members, were you on that list?
You know, we've actually been members.
Oh, a long time. Well, I wish I could remember way back when. Anyway, these are our new members, and there's Elam, is that right? All right, cool. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so about the club, we were founded in 1949, And if I got my information right, Laverne Bisner will be with us tonight. His daughter's attempting to drive him here, but she doesn't know about the concert. She doesn't know about the roads, so we'll see what happens. And his date associated with joining the club was sometime in 1949. He's been with the club, he's an active member for the longest time, and his name is part of the Fort Worth Astronomical Society incorporation papers. So it's pretty cool. And it sounds like he might have just showed up. Hey, Charlie, move over a little bit. So if you do allot me a little bit of time here, I was going to welcome Laverne to the meeting and ask him a few questions, if that would be all right, once he gets settled. Hey, Laverne, thanks for making the trip out tonight. We have you joining the club in the 40s. Is that about right?
When did you join the club? 40s?
44, back in the 40s.
Okay, back in the 40s. Okay. And I know you're an avid astronomer, visual astronomer, and you built telescopes.
You built telescopes?
Yeah, I built 3 of them.
Okay. And then you also enjoyed chasing eclipses, as I understand.
You enjoyed chasing eclipses?
Oh, yeah. I've seen 13 eclipses. I've seen 13 eclipses all over the world, from Egypt, Hawaii, the South Pacific, all every place.
Very good.
The 13th eclipse came to our house.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And for those that you don't know, if you Google Laverne's name, you'll get many hits associated with eclipses, because he was interviewed once or twice for the 2024 eclipse, and then many news agencies picked up that interview. And so you'll just get page after page of Laverne telling us about the eclipse. It's pretty cool.
Can't see pictures. This is a telescope I'm going to give you. Pass it around.
Okay. So Laverne is donating one of his telescopes to us. And what did you enjoy looking at when you used your telescope?
I think the best picture is Saturn. It's rings of Saturn. They're a pretty thing. Of course, Jupiter's good too, but Saturn, or the Orion Nebula, that's good too. Too bad people, all your kids nowadays in town here, you don't see the sky anymore. I grew up on a farm in Ohio, and every night it was clear. We could see the Milky Way, Orion, the North Star, the Big Dipper. Kids nowadays don't even know there is a North Star. I hate the car lots build there, put 100 light bulbs around there. It ruined the sky. Too bad you ought to take all your kids, take them out in the countryside and let them see what the aurora borealis look like.
Very good. Thank you, Laverne. So I'm just pleased to hear or get the confirmation that everybody from very young to very old likes to look at Saturn through a telescope. That is so cool. Hey, we were founded in 1949 as a club, and our members keep coming back. Right now, we have over 200 member accounts, with accounting up for over 350 individual people. You'll find that we have a wide range of experience. A lot of people still do visual work, but there's a big growth in astrophotography. And we do have a split-out group that just focuses on astrophotography. And nearly everybody is willing to help. So what you need to do when you join the club is get on the e-group so you can ask questions to the group and get answers to your astronomy questions. And then one more commercial bit, we're a nonprofit organization, so you can make donations of land or equipment or property, and they're tax deductible. Let's go to the next slide. So in terms of our resources, we have a member handbook that helps us guide you through the rules and the courtesies associated with the star parties and just being part of the club. We do have a couple observatories that we have access to. The first one on our list is the Thompson Observatory down in Keene. It was the property of the Southwest Adventist University. No, let's go with that. And then we have our own property called the Rising Star Observing Area. It was actually the observation area, but we'll get that fixed. Then we have club scopes and eyepieces that we can loan out and people can use both at our dark sky sites and at their house. And then we have our own social media presence with our website, Facebook, YouTube pages that keeps people and our folks involved. This is a satellite view of the observing area. It's 3.5 acres of green grass that people can set up their scopes, but we do have a number of pads that you can set your scopes up, a couple observatories that are in place. We have a green building. That's an euphemism for a composting toilet that can be used. And then we have a maintenance building, but it's outside of Cross Plains, Texas, so it's a little bit of a drive, but the skies are dark, similar to the dark skies that Laverne was talking about, because once you get into the dark skies, you start to see the beauty of the night sky. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, okay, so the telescopes we do have available. We have numerous Dobbs that are out at the dark sky site, along with some refractors going from very small to pretty large. We got a large range of Schmidt-Cassegrains from a 6-inch up to a 14-inch, from lightweight to heavyweight. And then we have one, I'm not even going to try to say it at this point, but it's available for use too.
Bruce, could you go to the previous slide for just a second?
Yes.
The building that's near the entrance there called the astronomy building?
Yes,
Is that where that equipment is?
that's correct.
Okay, not in the toilet.
No, no. Well, there is two in that.
I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go. And this is our own online presence. We have our website, our Facebook page, and YouTube page, where we do carry recordings of this meeting as well as previous meetings. And this is the main group from Fort Worth. And the bottom two here is our e-groups, where we exchange emails and stay involved. And then our astrophotography group has their own e-group to exchange information. And then I did want to point out that the club does have merchandise that's available to club members through the Zazzle site there, so you can find out more on that. Okay, next slide. And so if you still need additional information, either about the club or our dark sky site, you can send an email to info@fortworthastro.com and we'll get you an answer. And you can also join our club if you are so moved to do that through the Night Sky Network that I have listed there. Okay, next slide. And so now we're at tonight's presentation, where Sam's going to give us an update on what's it like to join the club and get involved. So Sam, there you are. Yeah, already.
Okay. Can we kill the lights? Oh, he's getting there. Sometimes that's my job, my other job. Okay. I thought it'd be fun. All the presentations. All right. All the presentations that I've seen since I've been with the club have been outstanding, except for one about math and stuff, and we all remember that one. Anyway, and I've loved it, but I am actually not interested in astronomy as astronomy, and we'll get into that. So it's just been interesting to me, and I thought this would be fun to do a presentation on someone who's only been in the club a year and a half, where I came from, and what I have found as a beginner to be a good path and a way to progress at a more rapid speed than trying to do it by yourself. So we'll get into it. Next slide. Now I typed this, I'm gonna read it so I don't get off track and on soapbox and things like that. So we're gonna cover a little bit about my experience, where I came from, and my astronomy background. How I got interested in astrophotography. What did I do first? By the way, YouTube is my friend and should be yours too. Sought out help from a boating buddy. So you never know where your sources are going to come from to lead you to what you can really develop into a hobby. Found the Fort Worth Astronomical Society and then the network, the Sky Network. Software, apps, learning experience, and DIY, my picks. And I want to emphasize this. This is my experience, my picks, and my views. There are a lot of people that have diversity within this club, and everybody has their own experience and their own preferences. And I always preach, don't disregard that. Listen to all of it, soak it in, and find your own path using pieces and bits from everybody's experience. Don't just disregard it because it's not what you do. I've learned that over a long time. So then we're going to go into what's planned for my future. And you'll see on the last slide down at the bottom, please don't tell my wife. Anyway, next slide. So a little bit about me. I've had a camera in my hand since I was nine years old. Box Brownie, you got to be pretty old to remember that. I've actually had a dark room. At one time, I was core photographer for the university up in Denton when I was in ROTC. I'm also a long-time user of Photoshop. I'm not an expert, I'm not a teacher, instructor, but I am low end on what I'll call advanced. This picture here is what I love to do. This is where my heart is, doing stuff like this. A very close friend of mine, her daughter graduated from high school. She turned 18 at the same time. So they wanted something unique and different for a graduation picture. And she came to me, I photographed her in my studio, which I have outside my house. The background was photographed at Lake Louisville at one of their paths through the forest. And the little bird, dragon, whatever you want to call it, was created for this picture. We called it Set It Free. So I love doing what's called photo manipulation, creating things like this. Next slide, please. Quick and simple. After high school, I entered a college up in Denton. By the way, met my wife. She was a substitute blind date. Let that soak in for a minute. I started off to be a shop teacher in metalwork. That was what I went to the university for. From there, Army, worked my way up to robotics design in the early 80s, electronic field service, helping to build an international franchise company, to owning my own company, converting 8mm film and 16mm film into high definition. Retired basically from working in 2015. Up until April 8th, 2024, I had no interest whatsoever in anything to do with astronomy. In fact, I had no interest in science. I always used to say, I've been a diver, a certified diver since '67, and I used to say I'd been a great oceanographer if it just wasn't for the science. So, sure, I like looking into stars. I love seeing a falling star. Particle going through the Earth's atmosphere, burning up as it passes, for the purist. And there's nothing wrong with being a purist. But anyway, that's kind of where I was in science and astronomy. I had a store-bought, yeah, it's a store. By the way, my weakness is spelling, so no, please don't correct me if you find one. Telescope that, parents buy you at Walgreens and Target, and it has the Saturn and the rings and the moon and all that, and it will disappoint a child into getting into astronomy because it doesn't show you that pictures. Next slide. Okay. What happened April 8th, 2024? Everybody's talking about the solar eclipse. I mean, you go in the grocery store, you hear people talk about it. So I thought, okay, this might be fun. Let's see if I can capture an image of the solar eclipse. All I had was a D850 camera and a 200 millimeter lens. And I set it up on the opposite side of my accessory building because the wind was blowing. And, you can tell the wind's blowing. Okay, that's not going to stop the wind from wiggling the camera. So that's why I moved over to the building. And this is what I got. Next slide, please. So that's what I got. That's the two pictures. This one here, I'm sitting and I'm watching it, and it's dark and it's coming out. I don't know what I'm doing. This was an accident. And I'm going, oh, that's cool. Oh yeah. Oh crap, my sensor. And I throw the cap, the filter back onto the camera because it's off during the brightness. During this phase, the filter is off. That's why I've got a bigger diamond than most people have. It was an accident. But this is what I got. Next slide, please. Next slide. That put the bug in me. I like to say that picture is the most expensive picture that I have ever taken. So, ever taken. My wife has no idea how much that picture cost me. So, anyway. So what did I do first? Now I've got the bug. Okay, YouTube. Head to YouTube. In less than a week, I saw an ad on Facebook from High Point Science for an Aperture 750Q scope. Normally, I just scoop right past those advertisements, but this time I stopped. There is another outfit in Oklahoma that is mail order and sells a lot of equipment. Anyone know the name of that? Astronomics. Yeah, they're up in Oklahoma. I've actually ordered from them also, but there's reasons I've locked into High Point, and that's for another day. Got on YouTube, started watching videos of equipment and what other people were doing and so on and so forth. Went on to High Point website and read all about the Aperture 75Q. I know there's special mirrors. This scope had 2 of them of 5 lenses. I thought that was pretty cool. It talked about not having back focus, and that was really interesting to me because I had no idea what back focus was. So got into that. Now keep in mind, I still haven't sought anybody out. I still haven't looked for a club. I've done this up to this point just out of curiosity and the fact that maybe I wanted to get into this. What was driving the pursuit of this? Night skies for my manipulation photographs. To be able to create a manipulated photograph that has a night sky with a nebula or a planet or something unique that I took that was part of my creation. Next slide, please. First order to high point. This is what I ordered. Except for the last lines, I added the Jackery Explorer 1000 Plus because the 300 wasn't doing the job that I ordered, and a CAA camera angle adjuster. This is just within the last couple months I ordered the CAA. But there's the scope, or there's the mount, HEQ5. There's the scope, the 75, the main camera. I am using the 6200, and it's one-shot color. I haven't gotten into filters yet. Then the guide scope, the 50 ED with a 220 mini guide. An autofocuser, because I didn't want to go out every hour and make sure my focus was on track in cold weather. So that, to me, that was mandatory. And then the Pegasus power box, because I'm an electronics engineer. I know the importance of keeping power and digital signals separate. And besides that, the Pegasus also has a automated dew heater control by temperature. So it can control the dew heater as the temperature rises and closes. That's why I bought that. Next slide, please. Okay, did we change slides? Yeah. Okay, so now I have the equipment, back to YouTube, putting it together. Very quickly learned I need help. So at this point, I was talking to a good friend, his name's Glenn, and I said, I'm getting into astrophotography. I'm getting into it now. I bought all the equipment. So do you know anybody who has experience in this? And he gave me one name, Chris Ashford. He gave me his name because Chris has a sailboat, Glenn has a sailboat, and they both race each other on Grapevine. So Chris, after talking to him, I immediately joined this club, because that's the first thing he said. Join this club, and also join Night Sky Network. That's mandatory. Then he gave me some other suggestions and some other things to do. He had supplied the coal to fuel the fire, to get me on track running down the rail. Okay. What I found in the club is a wealth of talented, experienced people who are able and willing to help anyone that's interested enough to ask. Okay? Now, sometimes you don't get the answer you want, but hey, ask the question. You know, you're going to get something. You want to view the planets, watch special events, they'll help you with that. You want to, there are plenty of people to help you with whatever you want to do. And if you want to go to the next step and get into astrophotography, you got plenty of help there. There are just a wealth of information in this club. Just keep in mind that this club is very diversified. I mentioned that once before. In knowledge, and each individual has their own opinion on hardware and how to set it up. Remember, take in all the information you can and find what works for you. Don't take in this guy's information, oh, he's full of stuff, I'm not going to listen to him. No, listen to him, because he may supply you with a little bitty bit, and you get a bit over here and you get a bit here and you find your own path. You don't have to do exactly what someone tells you the way that they do it. And that's pretty much what I'm saying in that point. In this whole area right here. The thing I like about Chris is that he shows me, he guides me. If I do a picture and I send it, he says, hey, send me that picture. So I send him the picture. He sends me back and I go, oh, crap, I got a lot of learning to do, because he just blew mine away. Of course, he's been doing this a long time. But anyway, he doesn't say anything. He just sends it back to me and, okay, I need to add more oxygen. I need to add more blue. I have never heard him say the only way to do this is. He doesn't do that. He leaves it up to my decision, and he also may say, I like this way, or others may prefer this. They say you gotta. And that's everybody then here that instructs and teaches people, please don't do that. Don't tell them you have to use this or you have to use that. I use ASI Air. Someone at 3R Ranch last year told me I have to throw that away and use Nina with a milli computer because it's so much powerful and does so much this and that and this. And I said, you know, I'm not ready to do that. But I'll tell you this, I have a Mealy, and it is loaded with Nina, and I have played with it. Okay. Lesson I learned when I was writing software, this is very typical of this whole section here, is you can take 10 programmers and you can tell them, I want you to do this action. When you do this, I want this action to take place. And when they all finish, you'll get what you wanted. You'll get, when this happens, this occurs. But the software will be 10 different versions. They won't be the same. Maybe 3 of them work. Yeah, he's right. Maybe 3 of them will work. But anyway, that's the take on everything, and especially if you're a beginner. Soak up as much as you can. Pick out what works for you. Next slide, please. Okay. What went wrong? Chris has a lot of fun with this one. So did Bill, I think. Know your scope and camera. Now, I can't speak of Nina. I'm not that deep into it. I know that you have to set up your camera and all your information in it also. But ASI, you have to set up your pixel size and the size of your sensor and your scope, the f-stop, and all this stuff. You have to enter it in, and you do that so that the program that you run to find your targets knows which targets for you to select. So I'm looking in an app program that's on my phone. I said, hey man, this galaxy's really cool. I like that. I'm gonna shoot that tonight. I had trouble setting up my polar alignment. I had trouble setting up my tracking. You new guys, you'll learn all about that. And I was an hour and a half behind the time I wanted to start. So instead of taking a shot, which I shoot 5 minutes, I started the plan and I went to bed. Let's see. No, what did that happen? Can we go back? Okay. That right there is my galaxy. Okay. Know your scope and camera. Chris sent me a big formula where you type in the mathematics to your camera, you type in the scope, and then you type in the distance of this and that, and it comes out and it says your target will be 5 pixels in size. I told him I left math behind when I left engineering behind. Next slide, please. All right. Sam's suggestion of software and YouTube. Find the presenter you like and weed out the backyard beginners. If I can't understand the guy, I'm not going to watch him. And if he starts stumbling and fumbling around, I'm not going to watch him. Find someone that really sounds like they know what they're talking about and stick with him, because they'll have 15, 20 to 50 presentations on YouTube of different topics covering different areas. I personally like, thank you. Actually, when I found this guy, Bill brings him in as presenter about 2 months later. Here's a slide. I like Peter here because he processes the way that I am comfortable with. It doesn't mean I'm not going to go to something else later, but right now I'm comfortable with that. So I like his presentation because he processes and picks insight, and then he finishes it up in Photoshop. So he uses a couple programs. By the way, I hadn't touched this until a couple months ago, PixInsight, and I'll get to that in a minute. You'll hear a lot about Adam Block's studios, and I actually signed up for some of his programs and watched them for a while. And the only thing I didn't like about him, although I don't fault him for this because he's very good, presentations are good, and he spends a lot of time creating these, is that he'll carry you to a certain point that you've paid for. And then if you want to go further, you got to pay more. So you pay this and you get this a little further, and I'm stepping off the camera. Where's my mark? Oh, my mark? Okay. So he'll carry you, and then he wants payments as you go along. I don't fault him for that. The thing that I really don't like about him is that if you want to type help on the display, he'll spend 5 minutes telling you where the electrons go, how they go through, the makeup of the diodes, how the color transfers onto the screen to show help. I don't want to know that. I just want to know, type in H-E-L-P and you get it on the screen. You know, but he's very detailed. If you're that oriented and you want very detailed and you want to understand how that function creates that color or creates that image, he's the guy to go to. He knows that stuff. Advanced, yeah. I also like a guy by the name of Cuz, the Lazy Geek. He's somewhat quirky, but he's very talented, has a lot of information on board, and sometimes he'll hit a topic and that little niche that someone else missed and didn't covered, so you can kind of weave that in to your topics. Use bits and pieces from everyone. I've covered that. I started using Serial. As beginners, I started using Serial. There are a lot of programs along the same level as Serial, but I kept watching videos of, the 10 best or the 5 best or that best, and Serial kept coming up. It's pretty good. It's freeware, and the authors of it don't bug you. They just politely every once in a while ask, are you enjoying our software? It's not, are you enjoying my software, send money. The send money is kind of quiet, but that's what they're wanting, is donations to support their programming. And I used the software almost a year and donated $100 because I thought it was worthwhile. I think it's good to start with because it's budget friendly. It's free, guys. Just download it. And you've got a lot of support on YouTube on how to set it up and how to run it. So that's good. I've moved on to Pixel Site. I'm using it pretty exclusively now. Very involved, like Photoshop, very involved, very complex, and it's going to take some time to learn. I don't know if I'll ever learn all of the menus and programs and functionalities that it has. Chris can probably push me in that direction. Next slide. Okay. Apps to load on your iPod. I am terrible at pronunciations, so I'm going to let you read them. This one, there's a lot of programs other than this one that a lot of members have, talked about. I've heard them mention it. But when I want to set up my scope, you could go out and you can set it up pointing north. But if you want to see where Polaris is in the daytime, just hold your phone up with that program and you can see where it is, because it'll tell you where it is. My altitude, I was, again, at Three Rivers. I didn't know the longitude and latitude to enter in for my location. One of the things ASI asks for. And if you don't enter it, it'll enter the last one for you, which could be off. My altitude tells you that. If you've got phone connection, cellular, it will tell you your longitude, altitude. It's made to tell you your altitude, but it gives that information also. This one down here is, again, there's several programs, and you'll have to talk to other people and find the one that you like, that gives you your cloud cover temperature and seeing up to three or 4 days in advance, but then you scroll it down and it'll give you up to, I think, 5 or 6 days in advance, a rough estimate. This one here is the one that lied to me. It didn't lie to me, but made my little galaxy be a tiny galaxy. I forgot to scroll down and hit simulate. I didn't hit the simulator button to see the simulated. Gave me a nice pretty picture, and I said, hey, that's cool. there are lots of apps. Your mentor that you're going to find is going to suggest the apps that he has found to be best. Go with what your mentor tells you to first. And then if you find something else you like better, switch over. Mine doesn't care. I mean, but I've been using what he's told me to use so far. Next slide. Okay. Load, I loaded on my iPhone again. Pegasus panel. Pegasus has its own software. Actually, this doesn't belong there, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. iPhone, yeah. You have to you have to have a computer to access the Pegasus material because they have their own proprietary program in order to get to it. I don't know why. This does not work with Dragonfly processors. It cost me a lot of money because I bought a notebook computer to specifically do astrophotography, and guess what processor it has? The problem is not with Dragonfly, it's with Dell. Well, it's the manufacturer of the process. There's an REM or RMA conflict in an application that Pegasus uses. Neither one of them have any intentions of fixing that. ASI is an Android program. It works on iPhones, iPads, Androids, and all that, but it won't run on a computer. You'll see YouTube videos all over the place of how to run emulators that run Android on Windows 11. I've tried a lot of them, none of them work. This program is a game playing program to run Android games. So when it starts up, it has all these game logos and all this kind of stuff. And then when it finishes loading, your ASI icon will come up on screen. They will not bother you with pop-ups. They never bother you with pop-ups. So I've grown fond of that one. And I now have an automated cap or lens cap that has a little white light that comes on so I can do my lights. At 4 a.m. when I wake up, I can just close it, do my lights. I like it. Got it from members. Saw it on the observatory scopes. Really like that. Next slide. Hey, suggestions for learning experience. Talk to fellow members. Don't be shy. I've had no one has bitten me yet. I'm getting tired. Haven't found any member to bite me yet. Take criticism with a grain of salt and pick out the pieces that work for you. Criticism is not a bad thing. It pushes you. Even if you don't take a scope or you have your scope yet, attend star parties. I have learned a lot in my beginning days by the star parties that I went to just by listening to the people who did bring their scopes. You can check out the gear that they're using. And by the way, don't bother them when they're trying to set up, because they're trying to set up so the kids can see the planets. And if they get distracted, when I was writing software, I found out that the people in the company that I was working for would draw straws to see who would lose and have to come in and interrupt me to ask me a question. So it's hard being focused and setting something up and then have someone come up and interrupt you. I personally try not to do that. Again, YouTube is your friend. I noticed that my mentor, he posted just the other day that he actually used YouTube to go out and check out how to polish or make a mirror or something like that. So even he plays with YouTube. I know his secret now. Huh? Come to club meetings. Make these meetings. Zoom is good, but nothing is like personal contact. You can't get someone handshake and ask them a personal question on Zoom. Zoom's good. I mean, you're not missing this. You're doing it. You just can't interface. So come make the meetings. It's a good thing to be. Come to club meetings. Yeah, okay, next slide. Okay. There's a picture up here, right here, that I took that was processed by this company. I've grown fond of metal. I've had my several prints printed on different material. I've grown very fond of metal. MPIX, it's easy to remember. But take a look, because that's my creation. I captured it. And this is the people that processed the plate. Next slide. This is cool. If you buy a full frame camera, you're going to have to deal with what's called sensor tilt adjustment. The manufacturer doesn't always get the sensor in a perfect plane for the level that we need. So there are 3 screws, and you can see right here, well, maybe you can or can't, but this one right here is labeled 3. So this is the way that you'll see on YouTube of how all of them are created and how you manipulate them. Problem is that camera's heavy, and when I put it in there, even though I sanded that hole to where it was a snug fit, when I put that camera in, it did this. It wasn't that drastic, but it did this. That throws alignment. You can't do that. So, next slide, please. This is kind of what happens. You've got a laser right here. And by the way, I've got a 3D printer, and I made these parts. If anybody wants to build one of these, now we have other people in this club that have 3D printers. I'm not the only one. But if you want these parts, come tell me. I'll print them out for you. The laser hits the sensor. You may not be able to see this, but there are 2 dots right there. There are a lot of dots because it reflects off the sensor all over the place. But there are 2 dots. One's important, one's not. One's the front of the glass of the sensor, and the second is where the sensor itself is. The one you're interested in is as you rotate the camera, that 1 dot will do this. It'll rotate, which means your sensor's not flat. So what you do is you tighten the screws, 1, 2, 3. You tighten them until you walk this circle into where it doesn't move. I watched the video. I searched a lot of videos trying to resolve the issue of when I take the camera and move it, it wiggles a little bit, and it's hard to adjust. Finally, after 3 or 4 days, I found an Englishman. I'm old. He was ancient. Who came up with a solution that I have not seen since from anybody. Next slide. He did that. The camera is now sitting on the tilt plate, and it's sitting flat, and no weight is on the sides. So when you grab a hold of it, you don't grab, you just kind of sit it, and you rotate it, it doesn't wobble. And that was the key, and that's all he did. By the way, this right here is his design. He did that. Distance between camera, laser, and paper is not critical, as long as the reflection is at an angle to where it hits the paper and doesn't hit off here somewhere on the table. So that's kind of the key. But right here, you can see the circle. Now, the other thing he did that nobody else mentioned is he moved it to position 1, and he took a pencil, and he drew a circle around the light. So he had a nice little circle. Move it to the position 2. Don't worry about the other screws or what's going on with them. Move that light back into the circle. Roll it to 3. Adjust it, move it into the circle. That's all you got to think about. Rotate it around, and all 3 will be solid. There's no trying to formulate, well, if I do this screw, it's going to tilt these, I'm going to have to move this one, I'm going to tilt this one. That's it. Next slide. That's my setup. That's my scope. I've now got a PoE, and I'm hooked up to the internet with Skylink. Right here, you'll see a pan and tilt camera. So when I'm remote, I can now watch the camera and see if anything gets tangled. I added an extension right here, so it keeps my cables. I only have 3 cables hang down, power. The cables go to the computer and the mount. The mount cable actually is just, I mean, it's just looped like crazy. It could wrap around my scope probably 3 times, but I've never had any issues with it. Next slide, please. The only thing missing is the cap. Okay, here's our site right here. Oh, down this corner. If you type in the address on a GPS on your car, unless it's far superior than mine, and I have 2 vehicles and it's done the same thing, you're going to come down this dirt road. By the way, do not take a car that you just washed out to Rising Star. do not do it, whether it's rained or it's dry. If you have a pickup, cover your equipment with tarp, because it's going to get sand in it, dust. You're going to come down this road, and your GPS right here is going to tell you you arrived at your location. Now, this is a turn. You can't go straight. You have to turn. So it's a turn. You have to force that away, which is kind of what I did. I said, well, maybe it's down further. So then you're going to come down, and somewhere in these trees, you're going to come across a house that looks like it's been there for a very long time, and a truck out front with its lid popped open that's starting to rust. So then you can come down. Now here you're going to see a dumpster. You can kind of see the dumpster here, the trash bin, and a big wide area, and the club sign is right here. If you start making a curve, you missed it. Okay? So this will take you, there'll be a gate right here you need to unlock, codes online, and then that takes you to the Rising Star site. Next slide. This is the future. This is my intent for the future. I already have this equipment right here in my wish bin. It's a Sharpstar 6200, the Orion mount, and the pier position. That's already there, ready for me to push the button. This baby, after being out to the Rising Star, observing the types of domes, helping with workout and that sort of stuff, I've come to the solution that I want this. And Mama says the worst thing that she can imagine is when I want something, I'm going to get it. But anyway, maybe I could find someone with some land up in mountain somewhere, maybe in Colorado, that would be willing to partner up. He has the land, I have the dome. Sounds like an awesome, share. Or something like that. I don't know. Again, don't tell my wife. Next slide. By the way, you don't want to know what that dome costs. All right, happy stargazing and successful imaging. That's it. Close your eyes, lights.
Ask for any questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Any questions? These guys are all experienced, yes. I don't remember the weight on the 6200, but it's a couple pounds, yeah. I don't know, but there's somebody in here that does. But yeah, the 62. I have yet to use the 52 because I like the 62. I like the full frame.
Don't go anywhere.
Anything else?
Why are you using the Windows emulator, Android emulator on Windows 4 if you've got an ASI Air?
I have an ASI Air. You can't plug an ASI Air into a computer.
Right.
The only thing you see is the hard drive. And
Instead of using an iPhone or iPad,
I use an iPad periodically, but with the computer, I can pull up my Pegasus, I can pull up my cap lens, I can pull up everything. I can pull up everything on a computer screen and jump between the functionality. Also, and that's an interesting question. I mentioned I have a Mealy mini computer. Okay, the Mealy mini computer is actually running the software. My notebook is doing direct connect to the Mealy. So my notebook, all it's doing is the screen for the Mealy computer. I can start my projects and everything and turn my notebook off. I can lose power to my notebook, and it's that Mealy mini computer is what's running everything. And it's the one that is Wi-Fi connected to the ASI Air, because that's the only way you can connect to ASI Air is Wi-Fi. So I forgot to mention that. There was another reason why I bought the Mealy, but that Mealy's sitting there with all the Acorn drivers, and it's ready to go with Nina, and I've looked at it, and I've played with it, and right now I'm still with the ASI. But good question. I'd forgotten to mention that actually the Mealy is running everything. And I didn't see it in there, but I actually have a mount on the leg where the Mealy sits to do that. Any other questions? Yay. Now I'm off the hook. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sam. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. So why don't we reconvene at 10 minutes after 8? Then we'll get started with the raffle, and then 6351. Any winners? A little louder. Better? Okay. 480-6351. Whether I say it softly or loud, it's a bingo.
Hold this a little button down there.
Right there? Okay, okay, great. Hold it there. He's told me that 3 times already. We brought quite a few books today, and somebody added 2 more, I'm sure. Yep. So there's plenty to choose from. Okay, the next number is 480-6354. If you had 51, do you have 54? Yeah. There it is. Let's see if I can do better. Mix
You're
them up.
doing just fine.
Thanks, boss. Okay, the next number, 480-6376. 480-6376. Okay, Mark, come on up. And while Mark's making his choice, we'll do the next number, 480-6332. 6332. Okay, Charlie. And the last one is 480-6330, unless that's Charlie. Okay, great. Okay, we're going to do one more bonus one. I don't want to carry the books home tonight. 480-6362. 6362. No? No, no? Okay, 480-6385. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for buying tickets and supporting the club. We'll now move into the next part of the presentation, which is what's in the sky.
Thank you. So this is for the stuff from tonight until the next meeting. Lots of stuff. This time of year makes for a longer one of these presentations because there's a lot of stuff going on. So go to the next slide. This is the middle of the Lagoon Nebula that Tyler Dollarhide took an image of. Pretty good shot. This is the gold there is what are we doing? Okay. Am I standing in the right place? Okay. Don't yell at me. Next slide. The zodiacal light. So this time of year, just because of where the dust is in the solar system and where the Earth is and relative to the sun and stuff, you get this. This is dust in the inner solar system that's getting lit up by the sun, like it says there. Next slide. Okay, so there's another double shadow transit season. I don't know. I don't even know if anybody likes this stuff, but I think it's cool. I actually wrote something. I posted, okay, great, all right, that's one, that's one. That I actually posted a picture of something that you'll see in the next slide. I'm not advancing it yet. And it's the idea is, to me, that seeing the shadows on there is like a visual way of seeing that this stuff is all in motion and this stuff is all interacting with each other. So that's my justification for this odd interest. So we got 6 of them. combinations of Ia, Europa, and Ganymede. And we got it September 20th, 27th, October 5th, 13th, 20th, and 21st. And all these are the ones, there are actually many more, but all these are the ones that are at night. Next slide. So, do it. What happened? No, back up. Okay, so that's supposed to autoplay. So imagine the shadow of Titan. There we go. This was such a hard video to make. So the other night it was, I don't know what night it was, September 4th. And I was out, it was good sky and stuff, and I was like, you know, I'm the one who does these presentations. Maybe I should look at my own presentation and see. I just had this feeling that there was a thing going on in the sky. And lo and behold, it was Titan's shadow going across Saturn there. So had moments of good seeing, and the rest of it was that. But I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, so there are only a few of these left, and then we start seeing the rings wider again. And because of the angle of Saturn and the fact that Titan's orbiting it and it's going in in its orbit, it's basically after a while you can't see Titan either going in front of the disk or the shadow going on the disk. Won't see that for another 14.5 years. So we got September 19th and October 5th. Next slide. Bright comets this month. So on September 11th, just 5 days ago, a new comet was discovered, and it is already at magnitude 6. Now, if you'll remember, magnitude 6 in the dark sky is magnitude 7 with good eyes, with young eyes. In dark skies is kind of the limit to naked eye vision. So magnitude 6 is like right there. We're expecting it to actually brighten. It's in Virgo right now, and that's the downside, is because the sun is actually halfway into Virgo right now. So this comet is going to be going around the backside of the sun pretty soon, and in order to actually see it before it, gets too close to the sun, you're already looking at the west right after the sun goes down. So hopefully it'll be a good one once it gets around the other side of the sun, and then we have a morning comet. That one is called 2025 R2 Swan, and we've got 2025 A6 Lemon. Now, I told you earlier in the year that we weren't, unless a new comet was discovered, that we weren't going to see any bright comets that were less than magnitude 10 until the end of this year. So the good news, looking forward for the next few months, is that we're going to see, well, what they anticipate to be, that we might have a few good comets, like really good comets, like maybe a couple that are naked eye in January and February. So we've got A6 Lemon, we've got 2025 K1 Atlas, which is just right on the edge of what I consider something worthy of getting on this board, also in Virgo. Next slide. For those that like occultations and close approaches, Friday, September 19th, we got Moon and Venus, half a degree apart, or little more than half a degree apart, 3/4 of a degree apart. And October 10th, we got the Moon and the Pleiades again, hanging out together. This is Peter T. Uranus. There's Mars right there, poking out. Next slide. The new moon is on September 21st. Well, what's happening at this new moon? Next slide. On the other side of the world is a partial solar eclipse. And it's in America. Samoa, American Samoa. which is somewhere on the other side of the planet. So timeanddate.com, which is my favorite eclipse information website, always does a live streaming of these things, no matter where they are in the world. So it's one thing that I didn't mention in last month's presentation was that there was a total lunar eclipse visible in Africa or something like that. This actually happens to be a partiality, we call the Devil's Horns, from the 2023 annular eclipse, and Christian Sinsick took a picture of this. Next slide. Saturn opposition. So on the same night, Saturn's going to be closest to us in the sky. In the days before and after this, there's this thing called the Seeliger effect. And one of the reasons is that with the sun behind us and Saturn in front of us, there are no shadows being cast on anything we can see. And it actually is contributive to making the rings actually visibly brighter. So that's a fun fact about that, is to actually get brighter rings, such as they are right now. Next slide. And then it's the autumnal equinox. Nights start to get longer, so huzzah. Next slide. And if you've noticed that Neptune and Saturn have been hanging out in the sky together, just 2 days later is Neptune's opposition. And it'd be in Pisces, as Saturn is right now, magnitude of 7.8. And, you know, it's a little blue disk. If you've seen it in your telescope, it can be mistakable as a blue star until you really start to look. But once you know, then you can't miss it anymore. It's great. Next slide. Ceres opposition. So our number one, the first asteroid discovered, Ceres, October 2nd. It's going to be, it's in Cetus, shining at a magnitude of 8. So that's a real picture. I was like, oh, I need to get a picture of Ceres for this thing. And I'm flipping through, and it's like, that was a picture from Dawn, which is the flyby that happened with Ceres. If you can get anybody from the Dawn mission, that would be cool. That's just my request. But that's a real picture. It's crazy. They found water and I think some salt on Ceres. Next slide. Full moon. It's the harvest moon on October 6th. Next slide. That's Robert Cargill's moonshot, by the way. The Draconids meteor shower. This is the big mystery meteor shower. It's hit or miss. I will always bring up my trip to some dark part of Fort Worth, somewhere between my house and the Rising Star Dark site, where I pulled off the side of the highway and kicked back on the back of my truck and watched a Draconids meteor shower that was as good as a pretty good Perseus. And they actually still speak of that in the internet, that was an outburst. In 2011, there were 600 per hour. So this is coming from Giacobini-Zinner, which is a comet that was kind of just come through. And it really is kind of a crapshoot as far as whether we see a handful or we see a meteor storm. So there's my hype. Don't always believe the hype, but sometimes it's real. Next slide. Okay, so I did my count. I made a list of all the constellations and realized that I needed to start looking at southern constellations. After this one, I've got 32 northern and 32 southern ones next. So I'm going to just leapfrog this for the rest of you know, and then I guess we start over. I start talking about something else. You can give me some ideas. So Indus the Indian, southern constellation, got the guy right here. He's always poking the peacock over here. This is Pavo, and always poking the peacock. I don't know what's going on with that. We can talk about that later, but it was created by Petrus Plancius in 1598. It was first depicted in a star atlas in Johann Bayer's Uranometria in 1603. So it's got 2 stars with no planets, with known planets, and 1 named star called Batsu, and they don't know whose indigenous person it is. It was, you know, somebody sea travelers, and who knows? They don't know exactly what it represents. So there you go. Next slide. I don't really have anything more to say about that. Epsilon Indi. So this is main sequence star, nothing remarkable about it. But it possesses 2 brown dwarf companions. And if you remember, a couple months ago, we had that guy that researches about brown dwarf binaries. And so I thought this very interesting, the fact that this had 2 brown dwarf companions as a part of a multiple star system. It was discovered in 2003, the dwarfs, that is. And it has a giant gas planet about almost 6.5 masses of Jupiter. This particular star system actually makes it a benchmark study case for multiple stars involving brown dwarfs and the formation of both the gas giant and the brown dwarfs. Next slide. NGC 7049. So this is actually one of the really cool things in this constellation. You ever heard the term lenticular galaxy? So lenticular galaxies, basically features of both a spiral galaxy and an elliptical galaxy, which is basically, elliptical galaxy is basically just a monster galaxy that's just eaten other galaxies, and it's just lost any form whatsoever because there's just been so much chaos and collision going on with galaxies that it just loses its form, and then it's just a big blob. So of course its morphology suggests multiple relatively recent galactic collisions, and it's got a really cool dust ring, but not a lot of structure otherwise. It's actually one of the galaxies in what they call the Indus triplet. Next slide. It's beautiful. Such a crazy galaxy. So crazy, I wish that were in our skies. So next slide. This is NGC 7090. And this actually reminds me a lot of the Whale Galaxy in Canis Venatici, which is really kind of a loosely bound spiral galaxy, both of them are, that we're seeing edge on. It's not exactly a sexy galaxy, if you go to the next slide here, but it does kind of remind you of the Whale Galaxy if you've seen it, or the Cigar Galaxy. It shows really active star formation. It's got a lot of dust that's obscuring a lot of the galaxy there. Next slide. So in GC 7140, by the way, we're looking out from the galaxy. Now, this is nowhere near looking towards the center of the galaxy, of our galaxy, that is. So everything that you're seeing out there is pretty much just galaxies in this constellation. So this was discovered by John Herschel, and he went out the next night and was looking, and he discovered it again, and he thought it was a different galaxy. So out of the dozens of duplicate entries in the new general catalog, this is one of them. Next slide. So there's a project going on called the NGC IC project. IC's index catalog. And there's a group of people that are like going through the NGC catalog and cleaning up stuff like this. It's like, okay, so NGC 7141 and 7140 are the same galaxy. Sorry, John. Say what? I don't know, but that's a good question. So next slide. So this is NGC 7083. This one, okay, you've heard about the lenticular galaxy. This is called the flocculent type of spiral, and it's characterized by patches, basically knots, patches of what does it say? Discontinuous arms. Thank you. Yeah. So it's patchy, beautiful galaxy. Self-propagating star formation appears to be the cause of the structure for a flocculent galaxy. And about 30% of the known spirals are actually categorized as flocculent galaxies. Self-propagating star formation is kind of interesting. We're talking about shock waves from stellar wind. We're talking about shock waves from supernova. Anything that creates a shock wave in the or tidal waves in the galaxy are shock waves that we're talking about here. Next slide. Okay, and then the last one is something you'll never see because it's teeny tiny in the sky, but it's called ESO 146.5. You know, I like to feature things that maybe you can't see in a telescope or maybe you can't even image, but to know that they're there and to know about them, it's pretty cool. This is an enormous and massive galaxy. Go to the next slide here. It's got 4 nuclei. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So we're talking about something that's just eaten galaxies, and they just haven't digested the nuclei yet to like form a single nuclei. This is a nucleus. To form a single nucleus, over time, that'll be the thing that happens. But the crazy blue thing here, this is actually one of 2 galaxies that are directly behind or in line of sight, far behind the galaxy in terms of billions of light years. And this galaxy is so massive that it's acting as a gravitational lens. And so they're actually 3 galaxies in the shot here. This little guy and this little guy, these are actually stars in the Milky Way. They're just foreground stars. But yeah, little gravitational lens. And it's actually, the estimates of the mass of this galaxy is like plus or minus 4 trillion, 27 trillion solar masses. So in context, the Milky Way galaxy is speculated to be anywhere between 700 million to 1.5 trillion solar masses. So we're talking about an amazingly massive galaxy here. Next slide. So that's everything about constellation. And so you see, this is something I wanted to point out, is that like in every star map you ever see, Indus is like poking at the peacock. And the funny thing is, I actually looked it up. I was like, okay, so what's the connection here? You know, I talked about Vulpecula in a constellation. I featured previously, and you know, there's a goose or something that's next to it, and it's like, okay, well, it's part of the story, it's part of the lore of this constellation. Well, listen, nothing happened between this Indian and this peacock. So it's just, but he's always got the thing. So it's like, you're like, hey, what's going on, man? Oh, nothing. Just poking the peacock. And you can be like, I get it. Indus. Feel ya. So Indus is about 84 deep sky objects in there. You can read about them there. Something that I really wanted to recommend that you guys check out is about the Dawn mission and about the NGC IC project. So next slide. And maybe this looks familiar. This is what he printed, I think. That's what you printed, yeah. So this is Sam Morehouse's Cygnus Loop, which is a supernova remnant, also known as the Veil galaxies. The Veil Nebula. And, there's a west and an east, and then there's the witch's broom right there. So, pretty cool stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Great presentation. When do you think we'll see the PDF online? Or in the e-group? Just saying.
Watch your eyes.
Maybe a day or two? Good work.
I'm sure somebody will poke the peacock.
Very good. So now it's time for the business meeting, and we always open up with Constantine on the financial report.
Thank you. Well, our accounting for this club finances has gone from 100+ transactions per month down to about 10 now that all the renewals are over and done with. So it's made my job very easy. If we look at where we are, we're sitting at $42,190. The largest expenses had to do with insurance and some improvements for the Noble Observatory. Moving down further the page, the current balance at Rising Star is $23.81, and we have a payment due next month of $810. So we'll evaluate where we are and possibly make a larger payment than that. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Constantine. So the executive board update, I just have one item. Normally, the board meets the Tuesday before the general meeting, but this meeting, because I scheduled my vacation in early September, and there was scheduling conflicts, we're going to meet next week, and that's what that's all about, so next Tuesday. But other than that, I don't have anything else. Let's move on. Okay, Cy couldn't be here, so I'm going to cover what he was going to say, and he had nothing to report either, so let's keep moving. So I'm going to ask anybody else for any other business for the club? Going once, going twice? All right, let's move on. So we'll go to announcements, and the first announcement has to do with 3RR. So Michelle, want to make your way up here? So those people that are new, members that are new, and that have been up to Copper Breaks, 3RR is an astronomy campus, which is really next door to Copper Breaks. And so we're having an event at the end of October, which is one of the weekends closest to the new moon. And Michelle's going to give us an update.
Okay. It is really exciting to know how many people are interested in 3RF this weekend. 3RF, see, all these years, Three Rivers Ranch, 3RR. Right now, we have 42 people who have signed up to go. Now, some people will have conflicts and they'll have to drop out, but this is probably the largest group I've seen in a long time. And so it's fun to see because the larger the group, the more fun we have. The cabins, the drawing was held last week, so the cabins have been assigned. If you're interested in bringing out an RV, I only have one spot left. They're very popular this year. And so I have one RV electric spot left if you want to bring out an RV. And then we have a number of people in the bunkhouses, both men and women. For those of you, I think Bruce covered a lot of what it is. Of course, you can bring out your own equipment. We have volunteers who will run the scopes out at Three Rivers. They've got a 30-inch, they've got a 12-inch refractor. I know there was one time when we had smoke. It wasn't that we had clouds, but we had a lot of smoke, and I couldn't see through my scope. I couldn't get a whole lot. So went down to that 30-inch Dob, and they were able to see quite a bit. So sometimes that's a big plus for us. For those of you who are going to join us in the Saturday night meal, that cost is $21. I need your payment at this meeting. I sent out an email. It's got my address if you want to email me or mail me a check, or I can collect at the October meeting. But I do need a final count at our October meeting so that I can let the caterer know how many people we're going to have. For those of you who haven't been out there, the caterer we use out there, she actually purchases the ingredients fresh the day before the event, cooks that morning, and brings it out to us that evening. So she's got an excellent business, makes some excellent food for us. Does anybody have any questions I can answer for Three Rivers that haven't been answered in some of the emails that have been sent out? Okay.
Good. Thank you, Michelle. All right. Give it up for Michelle. She'll be back later in this presentation. Maybe not. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next. There's the slides about 3RR. Okay, let's move on. So we'll go to our outreach report, starting with Patrick.
Okay, looks like we're now heading into fall. Means outreach is going to start picking up after kind of a slow summer. So this first one up is this Saturday. It's Dinosaur Valley Star Party. Right now the forecast is looking at least partly cloudy, so we're still on. I'll keep an eye on it. If it changes, I'll let you know. Then let's see. After that, we October 2nd, we got one. This is one we do every year. There's kind of a fundraiser for the school there. It's a different location, but same group. Then on the 4th, we're going to be down at the Crowley Library to observe the Moon Night. I guess this year will be in October. And then on the 11th, we got a Star Party, kind of a Halloween theme for Bob Jones Nature Center. Haven't been there in a while, but it's one we've been to in the past. And then finally, before next meeting, we actually got another Dinosaur Valley Star Party on the 18th. So I'll post these on the e-group as we get closer. Thanks. Yeah, generally. The only time, I know in the summertime we'll skip like a couple of months, but for the most part we do run them from March to December. So yeah, from here on out it'll be every month, so this month through the end of the year.
Our next Tandy Hill Star Party is the 27th of September. And this, beg pardon? Oh. 27th of September. The sun sets about 7:18. We'll open the gates probably 2 hours, maybe 5:30, before, so people can do solar viewing. If it seems like it's a long time since we had our last one, well, you're right. It has been a long time. We're transitioning from the first of the month to the latter part of the month. So our last one was in the first part of August, and now we're at the latter part of September. And we're going to have Saturn up, as well as a 6-day-old, probably about 6-day-old crescent moon. People that are new to the club and are interested in telescopes, what they want, we have all kinds of amateur telescopes out there. If you have a scope and need help with it, come on out, bring it. It's very informal. We're not going to be real intense about light use and such. We like you at a dark sky area. So there's a lot of light there, ambient light. So come on out, ask questions. And as Sam mentioned, we do like to have ambassadors, club members that just want to walk around and talk to other people, all the visitors. It does help the people with scopes out because sometimes we can't answer all the questions and operate the scopes. So come on out on the 27th of September, if it doesn't rain.
So in terms of the young astronomers, Cy wanted me to report that they're still working on the contract negotiations for the building. Process has been going on since the late spring, but the curriculum is all set. We just need a place to go. Let's move on. 1687.
Okay, well, I'm excited to report we have two 1687 events in October. The first one is for the Center for, but it's for ACD, and I always get the acronym messed up. There'll be about 40 people out there, be for their families. We will start around 6 for dinner, and then after dinner, have a star party. Both of these groups are repeat customers, as Bruce mentioned when we were talking about it. The next group is on the 25th. I know it's during 3RR, and it is for the Pink Beret. It's a group of female military veterans who are out there for the weekend. That was a very, very, very good event last year. So come out, free meal, good time, and you get a $50 gas reimbursement. So anyway, 1687, thanks.
So I remember the report from the Pink Berets last time. They like to stay up late, and they're very lively. So they're a very excitable group. So they like looking through the telescopes. So this is an update on Rising Star. Michelle, do you have anything? Okay, so we don't have a report there. And so the next one up, oh, there's a video. Sam, you want to just run it? Okay, so this is a video taken by Sam of our dark sky site. So those are the pads that you can set up on. Oh. Well, it's probably worth seeing. So it's about 3.5 acres of grass that you saw. There's plenty of places to set up. Sorry, watch your eyes. Thank you, Sam. Okay, so we don't have an update on Palo Pinto, but we do support their activities of bringing astronomy to the state park once it opens. We'll have reports in the future as they get closer to the opening, which is no longer in 2025, but some probably in 2026. Okay, so the next one's mine. We do have a program set up for the end of this month as well. There's another schedule conflict with the Tandy Hills, but we're going out there to the library at Cross Plains. Mark's going to give a presentation on the night sky. There's more than meets the eye, and he's going to present pictures to the folks that he's taken and talk about the gear that he uses to take his pictures. So our plan right now is to do the presentation between 6 and 7 p.m. and then head out to their show barn in north of town to do a star party. Typically, star parties out there at Cross Plains brings quite a few people out. So if you're interested and like more information about how we do this, or if you want to support the Cross Plains outreach, you can contact me. Mark, you have anything else to add? Nope. Okay. And so last item on this slide, the media report. So Mr. Lutch, are you online? Okay, good. So we'll just pass that. Just keep moving. And so this is the information in our next presentation, which is coming in November, because in October, what are we going to do for that meeting? We're having a swap meet. So bring your gear that you want to sell, and also come prepared to buy things. And Bob's raised his hand.
October, we were supposed to do Cook Children's this weekend. They gave us a call, and they are swamped. There's only one person doing community outreach. They've asked us to be rescheduled to the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So they'll have additional people hired. They had, Megan had someone to help us out, but that person bailed at the very last moment. So things should be a little more organized, and so that will happen
In November.
in November.
Okay.
So it actually works out better because it's an earlier time,
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Right. So in terms of the swap meet, we won't have a formal presentation. If we need to have a business meeting, it'll be short, but mostly people bring their gear, set it up on the tables, and then you just go wander around and either try to get the best price for your equipment, and the people who are buying want to get the best price for themselves. So show up, see what's there. But after tonight's meeting, there are people who go to the social house to continue the conversation and talk about what's coming up in the night sky. So that's all we have for you tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Got one from Bob, seconded by Bill. So all those in favor, raise your hand. All opposed say no. Good luck with the roads getting home. All right, thank you. Good night.